Keener is going to talk about the circularity of Hume's approach. And Keener says that he has been noting that Hume implies that he is arguing inductively. He actually, however, argues deductively, and that's what we've seen in the past couple episodes as well. And he's been arguing deductively based on a conclusion that results on an inadequate range of data, partly because it has an a priori excluded disagreeable evidence. Rather than allowing genuine induction based on evidence, Hume produces a deductive approach that a priori, the things that you allow to be known right off the bat, virtually excludes the evidence of miracles. And he cites experience against experience, a typical eyewitness against rare experience, though both are attested by witnesses. Thus, Hume prevents his own argument from being falsified by rejecting evidence that contradicts his thesis. And so if that's the case, and falsifiability is the thing that you want to have in your scientific evidence, in your theorems, in your claims, in your philosophy, if falsifiability is a test marker of truth, then if he doesn't allow falsifiability to come in, we should reject it, right? But it doesn't seem like people are rejecting Hume, and it's almost like there's a double standard here.
Right. So, he talks about other non-inductive elements in Hume's approach. So he's criticized Hume with regard to this issue of induction versus deduction. And we might want to just say that, induction has to do with probability, deduction has to do with necessity, right? And so in an inductive argument, the conclusion can change if you have more information. Deductive arguments, they don't work that way, right? They're true of necessity. But his argument here is that Hume has to assume, give a circular argument or beg the question with regard to miracles. And so that's the problem, even though Hume is claiming that he has an inductive argument with regard to experience. And so that's really this issue here, and why he keeps coming back to this induction, deduction kind of thing. He says that now what he goes on here, he moves on to other non-inductive elements in Hume's approaches. He says, other factors also indicate that Hume is not arguing inductively. He's noted first that Hume does not argue inductively, but constructs a deductive argument against miracles based on a probability rigged, he says, by his non-theistic starting assumption, right? So that's one issue. A second observation, he tells us, is that Hume's explicit exclusion of beliefs of ignorant and barbarous nations, right, reflects ethnocentric bias that the vast majority of scholars would reject as unacceptable today, right? So just because they're not like us doesn't mean that we shouldn't believe them, right? But Hume suggests they're not like us, right? They're ignorant and barbarous, and therefore we shouldn't believe them.
Which I believe concerning our ethics book previously, our prophetic ethicist gentleman would say we must reject Hume because of his problematic understanding here. So sorry, Hume. I'm sure all good atheists will reject Hume as well, and we'd like to see you on the other side. So that's great. Well, Hume also uses many bogus claims of miracles already rejected by many Christian critics to deny the reality of any miracles. The guilt by association approach, however, reflects the logical fallacy of false analogy, of generalizing based on specific cases without examining other cases that may differ in relevant details. You have your 3-year-old child tell you that they don't know who ate the cookies and that God must have come down and taken them out of the cookie jar. And so you say,
it's a miracle.
I'm pretty sure that the chocolate on your face is going to be a better direct evidence than God coming down and eating my cookies. Then things like comparing that to the miracles witnessed on camera, on people's voices clearing up from having been known to have a medical determination, and all of a sudden it clears up on recorded sound being witnessed by people, or even the resurrection. So if we could say, well, the child claims the miracle is false, therefore all these other ones are false too, seems to be what you wouldn't do in those cases. So, you have your eyewitness come forward and they say, I had a vision of the murder was my ex-boyfriend. and you find that that's not the case, well, then you have to dismiss all the other claims of those who were in the same room as the murderer witnessing the murder, right? Because if one person was wrong here, then all the other ones were wrong as well.
Yeah, and you have to dismiss all boyfriend murder
Right,
claims,
exactly.
right? Because this one was wrong, so you know all the rest of them. Have
There
to
you
be
go.
right.
Yes, exactly. No one is ever murdered by their boyfriend, so good. That's what Hume helps.
Which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, then Hume thus effectively argues here against a straw man, and we don't want to do that, right? To proceed generally inductively, Hume would have to examine each miracle claim and show it to be false, and he would still not have foreclosed the possibility of some miracle claims. So long as he proceeds inductively, a single confirmed miracle would disprove his case. Indeed, reliable witnesses for sufficiently numerous different miracles, if generally independent, supports the class of evidence. So hopefully someone will come along and write a giant book series on different types of miracle claims, and then we can just say, look, we have a lot of testimony here of claims of miracles, and we could just say, if one of these is true, then it falls apart.
Yeah.
Only someone will.
Speaking, right? If it's an inductive argument, all you need is one case, and you've made your point, right?
Right, exactly. So err on the side of caution. And maybe make a wager of some kind that says this.
Oh, by the way, Keene's book is purported to be doing that.
Oh, man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,